Most financial content tells you what you're doing wrong. This one is different. Because there are specific signs, recognizable, documented, psychological signs that someone is quietly moving toward wealth. Not because they won the lottery, not because they got a windfall, but because something has shifted in how they think, what they tolerate, and what they're building. Here are 7 of those signs. Pay attention. You might be further along than you think. Hi, I'm Hana. This is Mind Bloom. Sign 1. You become genuinely uncomfortable with your current financial situation. This sounds like a problem. It is actually a prerequisite. Comfort is the enemy of change. People who are vaguely dissatisfied with their finances, but not uncomfortable enough to act, stay exactly where they are. The shift that precedes financial growth is almost always a point of genuine discomfort. A moment where the current situation becomes more painful than the effort of changing it. Psychologists call this the motivation threshold. And research on behavior change consistently shows that people don't change when they understand the benefits of changing. They change when staying the same becomes more costly than moving. If you're genuinely uncomfortable with where you are financially, not resigned, not numb, but actually uncomfortable, that discomfort is not a sign of failure. It is the beginning of movement. Sign 2. You've started thinking about time differently. Specifically, you've started thinking in years rather than weeks. You find yourself asking not just how to solve this month's problem, but what your financial situation will look like in 5 years if you keep doing what you're doing. This shift from short-term to long-term thinking is one of the most reliable early indicators of financial progress. It's not natural. The human brain is wired for the immediate. Distant rewards feel abstract, present costs feel real. But somewhere along the line, the future starts to feel personal rather than hypothetical. Your 45-year-old self starts to feel like someone you actually know and are responsible for, not a stranger. When that happens, the decisions change. The small, consistent investments start to feel more meaningful than the immediate relief of spending. Sign 3. You've stopped spending money to impress people, or you're actively trying to. This is one of the quietest, but most significant shifts in the psychology of wealth building. Every dollar spent on signaling status is a dollar that doesn't compound. Every purchase made for an audience that isn't watching is a transaction that costs more than its price tag. The moment someone genuinely stops caring what their car or their clothes or their neighborhood says about them and starts caring instead about what their bank account is doing, something structural changes. This doesn't happen because they become less social or less warm. It happens because they've found a different source of satisfaction. Not the admiration of others, the quiet, private knowledge of what they're building. Sign 4. You've started building something outside of your main income. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be profitable yet. But the person who is quietly building a side project, a skill, a small investment portfolio, a body of creative work, is doing something structurally different from the person who works only for their salary. They are creating what economists call a second income stream. But more than the income, they are developing the psychological experience of ownership. Of having something that is theirs that grows or produces or accumulates without requiring their constant presence. This is how the mindset of an employee becomes the mindset of someone who builds, not through motivation, or inspiration. Through the actual, repeated experience of creating something outside the 9 to 5. Sign 5, you've become comfortable with delayed gratification in at least one area. Not everywhere, not all at once, but there's an area of your life where you've started choosing the later, larger reward over the immediate smaller one. And that capacity, however small and specific, is expandable. The person who waits to buy the thing until they can afford it without debt. The person who keeps investing even when the market drops. The person who stays with the difficult book, the difficult skill, the difficult relationship, because they can see where it's going. These are all expressions of the same underlying capacity. And every time that capacity is exercised, it strengthens. The research on delayed gratification suggests it is less a fixed trait than a practiced skill. It gets better with use, and the person who starts practicing it in any area is developing something that transfers. Sign 6. Your relationship with financial failure has changed. Specifically, you've had a financial setback and you didn't quit. You lost money on an investment and kept investing. You went into debt and paid it off and didn't swear off credit forever. You made a bad financial decision and extracted the lesson and moved forward. This is not resilience as a personality trait. It is resilience as a learned response. And the person who has learned to treat financial failure as data rather than verdict, who has discovered that they can lose money and survive, make a mistake and recover, has unlocked something that the person still protecting themselves from any financial risk never has. The willingness to try, fail, learn, and try again is the actual mechanism of financial growth, not the avoidance of failure, the digestion of it. Sign 7. You've started talking about money differently. Not more, differently. With less shame, less avoidance, less charged silence. You ask questions you would have been too embarrassed to ask before. You discuss salary with people you trust. You negotiate without feeling like you're doing something wrong. You look at your bank statement on a Tuesday afternoon without dreading what you'll find. Money has become less of an emotional minefield and more of a subject, one you can engage with, learn about, and manage. This shift in relationship is not the result of having more money. It is a precondition for it. Because you cannot build what you cannot look at, and you cannot look at what terrifies you. The person who has made peace not with their current situation, but with the subject of money itself, is someone whose relationship with it is finally workable. How many of those 7 felt like you? If several of them did, I want you to sit with something. Wealth is not built in dramatic moments. It's not built in windfalls or lucky breaks. It's built in the accumulation of small shifts in thinking, in behavior, in relationship with discomfort and time and failure. And those shifts, the ones we've just gone through, are not things that happen to lucky people. They are things that happen to people who are, quietly and without fanfare, becoming someone different. If you recognized yourself in this video, share it, not to brag. To remind someone else that the signs of progress don't always look like progress from the outside. I'm Hana. See you in the next one. Take care.